Right, everyone, thank you very much. Welcome to full council meeting on Monday the 23rd of June. I'm John Robertson, your mayor for this year. And let's get started for the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence. Received. Excellent. Let's move on. Next is to open session. Members of the public may make representations, ask questions and give evidence at a meeting which are entitled to attend in respect of the business on the agenda. This is for a period of 50 minutes overall and is limited to 3 minutes per person. Anyone from the public like to ask a question? Yes, Wendy.
I was interested to see in your new newsletter no mention of either the Barclays Bank development or the lease on the market, and I was wondering why that should be.
Have you seen the size of our newsletter? We would have to double it in size, Wendy, to actually put you on.
With respect, I was not asking the size of it.
When we have news to actually give to our community, then we'll actually put it on to the next newsletter.
You've taken over the lease of the market.
No, we are in the process of taking over the lease of the market. That hasn't gone through yet.
Okay.
And as far as the Barclays building, we haven't gone any further apart from instruct someone, and a structural engineer, a building surveyor, to look at the possibility. So until we actually have some news whether we're actually going to take it on board or not, which will come back to full council for agreement, then we have some news to pass on to the community.
That's all incurring fees, right? The survey, etc.
You have to spend money sometimes, Wendy, to speculate, to accumulate. And at the end of the day, if we are able, as a community, as a council, to actually invest in it, which means one less empty building in the town centre, that to me is positive, bearing in mind which hopefully should make it cost neutral. As far as taking on board the market, that has been a desire both of the community and the councils around this table for a number of years. And now we're in the position to actually take it over, and actually over the next few years we should see a benefit to the community of more stalls in that market, which will make it cost neutral if not actually an income generator.
Well, no one's seen a feasibility plan or a proposal for this, but I'll leave that there. It looks like I've got the floor to myself, so I'll continue. Private advisory group meetings. I have emailed you regarding this. You've chopped the committees to have private meetings with no minutes. I think, are you prepared for any formal complaints about potential breach of the Local Government Act 1972 if you proceed with this?
Right, I was going to actually send, I had a word with Ian today when he came back from holidays, because some of the questions you were raising, other members of council have seen sight of some of them. Wendy's email.
I sent it to every councillor.
You haven't sent it to the members of the public here present either. However, and we are guaranteed we're doing nothing wrong. A number of councils have working groups. It means that we can actually bring members of the public in who might be able to help us, inform us, to actually discuss issues before it's actually taken full council. No formal decisions are made that affects this council unless they're actually passed at full council. We can have as many working groups as we like, and we will have as many working groups as we need, but all formal decisions come back to this, recommendation come back to this council.
So you're prepared to address formal complaints about this then?
If you can find the complaints, on you go, Wendy.
Okay.
Sorry, Wendy, that's your time on. Yes.
Am I to understand that those working groups are not open to the public, even if they're very interested in the topic?
Because they will then be discussed, if items come through there, they'll be discussed at a full council meeting where you are invited to actually sit, and that's where our decisions will be made. Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I have another question.
Sorry, Wendy, no, you've had 3 minutes.
When I first moved to Berwick 9 years ago, the council, Berwick Town Council, met in the town hall. It had a lot of rooms. I don't suppose they've disappeared. Can anybody explain why those rooms aren't used for council meetings and council business?
To begin with, the Guild Hall, the Town Hall, is not our building. It belongs to the Freemen. They have generously over years allowed the council to hold their meetings in the council chamber. But we have a disability access issue with members of the public being able to access a room that's on the first floor that's not easy access. There is a stair climber, but it's not the best way to get people in and actually are able to attend a formal meeting, which is why this room is perfect. Straight through that door, straight off the, off the street, perfect for them. When, at the moment, the Freemen are looking at putting a lift in and putting new toilets in, including disabled toilets in. If and when that happens, and I'm sure councillors will revisit the whole question about having a council meetings then.
Thank you.
Welcome. Shall we carry on then? Minutes. To send us a correct record, the minutes of the Berwick-Upon-Screen Town Council meeting held on the 19th of May 2025.
Comment,
Yes.
they're not correct, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Okay. Which ones you got? Because we've got a couple of errors you can find.
You've got councillor Bruce, nominated councillor Bruce. I would nominate myself, not by councillor Bolton, and I wasn't seconded by councillor Bruce. So that is incorrect.
Councillor Bruce, you were nominated yourself.
Yes.
So not Councillor Bowden. Okay. Steve, you've got a note of that? Yeah. Right, Councillor Bruce. And who seconded?
I do. No.
Okay, so that's Councillor. Fine. Anyone else?
Could I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Is it to regard the minutes?
Yes. Is there not an audio recording of the minutes of meetings so they can be checked out, or has it been taken down longhand by our member of the staff?
We have got audio recording, but I believe we have an issue with audio recordings going online. Is that right? Ian? No. No?
It's being recorded today.
Yeah. Can they be put online
It
then?
will be put on.
Thank you.
Mike first.
I've got two items here, 6.25, which follows redress, and then there's Councillor Mike from the country.
And then that's the Mike Greener. Okay.
And also 15.25, youth project, it's Councillor Rowe and Smith, it's Councillor Rowe and myself. Check that with Barry.
Thank you. Okay. Laura, I think you're
13.25, the Chair for the Environment Group is Councillor Turton.
okay. Jane?
Yeah, there's another one, 15.25. Friends of Five Archers. Was that not you,
Yes.
Robert? So, and
Not me.
not you. So, just Councillor Bruce.
Councillor Bruce. Apologies for the state of the minutes this week. I have been assured this will not happen again. Okay? We will have another double check of it before we come out in the future. Okay? Rosemary?
Corrections 5.25. Nominations are received from Councillor in terms of Councillor Turton and Councillor Bruce. Surely that should be received for. From.
Yeah.
And then on 8.25, we talked about the pre-election period because the word code is no longer in use.
What needs changing there?
Code needs changing to pre-election period. I'm sure that's the terminology that we use.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. I find it quite hard to follow the minutes when they're double time. When we have the minutes of all meetings printed single format on single pages. I know it's going to be a lot more paper, but switching from side to side is an absolute nightmare.
How do
I
other
don't know if
councillors,
other councillors agree with that.
how do other councillors feel about
I
that?
agree. Suggestion?
Yes, Laura?
Instead of having one single staple at the top left, 2 or 3 staples down the side so that you open it like a book.
Right, but that then doesn't get away from the suggestion of actually just having it on one side of paper anyway.
But if it's stapled down, you can open it like a book, you can see both
Still not
sides at the
single
same
pages.
time.
How does that work from a practical point of view when we have sometimes quite a book worth of papers to actually read? Would a stapler go through them?
You should be able to get staplers that will go through, and you can buy staplers of different strengths.
In different sizes.
Right.
Amazon's a great source of.
Other retailers are available. Two things here then. Do councillors A feel that we worthwhile if we actually had these documents stapled, as been proposed by Laura, and have 2 or 3 down the side? That would be the first suggestion. All those in favour?
That saves paper.
Right.
Just put one slight amendment. I find it quite hard to fit that to the agenda. Could that be on the front, or just present it on something?
The agenda is on the front.
Let's look it out.
Right. And the second point was single-sided paper, or do you want to try two-sided stapled first? Sorry,
Or
I'll have to-
single-sided.
Right, okay.
For
let's-
older gentlemen,
Okay.
please.
All those in favour of single-sided? All those against? Right, we'll try this safe paper and try two-sided or stapled. Okay? Noted? Right.
Thanks for your help, councillors. For God's sake.
Right, moving on. Anything else with the minutes? Yes, Janice?
8.25, I think it was councillor Bruce that mentioned his problems about the timing of the meeting. I don't think it was me.
Robert, does that bear with your recollection? Do you know anything varies about the timings of the meetings?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Anything else?
Or can I come back to one of these, could we have one separately single side?
Is that possible?
Anything is possible.
Right. We'll get one copy for the floor.
Thank you.
Okay? Right. Shall we move on? Uh, 40.25 disclosure of interests. Any disclosures given in advance, none in advance? No? Any tonight? No? Okay. Let's move on from there then. And we're going to do re-swap. And first, item 42.25 co-option onto the council. We're going to do that first before we do the terms of reference. So the pages you need to have a look at is from page 18 onwards. Page 18 and 19. And you also will have had in advance information from candidates. Now, can I say to you all that we initially had 5 candidates who were applying for the 4 vacancies we have, but 1 has pulled out today. So candidate D, Paul Hillier, apologises, but when he found out most of our meetings are on a Monday evening, unfortunately can't make Monday evenings. Okay? Added to that, I've got another wee statement as well. The other item I've got to say is, I'd like to clarify that one of the other candidates, which is Matthew Cooper. Matthew Cooper isn't able to make it this evening, so you've got his speech in front of you, what he wrote, the letter he wrote in, but he won't be able to do any presentation or answer any questions, okay? Apologies. It's Matt Cooper has pulled out, and Paul Hillier can. Right? That's a breakdown of communication, I think, between me and Steve. So, Matthew Cooper, don't discard, please. And Paul Hillier, please put back in. But Paul can't make it tonight. Okay. Right then. So, each candidate will invite in turn to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes, but if we ask the 3 candidates if we wouldn't mind in the first instance, to go through, and then we'll just take each one in turn. So Graham, you're first on the list, if you just want to stay in, if the other two would like to come through.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just, I have written, I believe you've all seen my one page of A4 which I've provided. So I'll just, rather than go through that word by word, I'll just give you what I think might be the highlight. Make sure I get into 3 minutes. So I'm applying for, to be co-opted. I put in my email for Michael and Ward, just that was nearest to where I live. One of the other candidates actually lives in the ward and she would like to get her hands on it, so I'm very happy to take it. If you accept me as a co-opted member, any ward you offer in my interest, and I represented Castle Ward for 3 years since I was co-opted onto the council. To me, it's always just Berwick. I don't give particular extra love or attention to that particular ward. I mean, I came to Berwick 18 years ago. I love the place. It's even better than Newcastle, which is incredible. The team isn't, but you know. But I really just, I stand for Berwick, so I'll take what you give me if you accept me. So I've been on the council, as I said, for 3 years. I was deputy mayor for the last 2. And I was very much part, along with virtually everybody around this table currently, in what I think was bringing the council from a slightly dysfunctional state into a fully operational state, whereby we pay attention to improvements for the town for the benefit of the residents. And some of that is through enhancing the town for visitors. And I think that's the business of Berwick, largely in the absence of large industries which have long since gone. So tourism I'm very interested in, but basically the look at the town, which I think has a, passes on the benefit to the residents. There are issues all around the town which are way beyond our remit. I mean, I think probably the education, the market higher education, is probably the biggest issue. I look to my colleagues in the county council for that. But we would, I'm very keen that we cooperate very effectively with our county council members. There's a number of things that, obviously a benefit to the residents here are achieved through us, through this body, but also at that level. So close cooperative working with them is vital. Also with the other organisations in the town, particularly the Civic Trust around the look of the buildings. On past achievements, I made a note of that in my notes. I mean, I think.
Graham, sorry.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, blimey, right. That's well, that's one of my problems. Once I start.
If you would, first before you go through, are there any questions from other councillors that you'd like to ask? Yes, Robert.
I would like to ask you, you were deputy mayor, you said, for 2 years. Is there any reason you didn't take the role of mayor and just stuck as deputy mayor? Is there any reason behind that? And if you would ever to be on the council and became deputy mayor, would you then step up?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I always made it very clear from the moment I became the deputy mayor that I had no desire to be the mayor. That's just really about who I am. I think one of the things that Berwick's great at, and what this particular mayor is extremely good at, is the ceremonial side of Berwick and being with its military heritage and celebrating the kind of the grandeur of Berwick. Somewhat faded in parts, but it's there. Now that isn't me. That's just not who I am. I was much happier in the sort of a supportive role to the mayor, working in working groups behind the scenes. I was very involved in the staffing committee in particular, which I think made some pretty major changes to the council, but also
Tree Park. Why was you involved in that? I don't think you were ever involved in that.
In the what, sorry?
Upgrading this little play park.
Well, I was involved as a council member, I was,
But that was before your time, I think.
no, I wasn't, no, I was,
I think it was. Anyway,
So you're not paid in
Anyway.
one.
because I was involved in that, that's why I know. Also, you also got down the tree planters.
yeah,
What was you involved in that?
I was, one of the,
Instrumental in pushing tree planters and
not the persons that decided what they looked like and how many we should get, I was one,
Well,
I was one or two or
involved,
three.
I actually was involved in that, and I actually got the planters sent up from England, so I know all about the planters, so where you got that from yourself, I'll never know. Anyway,
Well, I'm sure we'll have, lots of future debate on these issues.
I'm sure we
But
will.
my interest isn't really on claiming credit, things, certainly not credit. I wouldn't claim credit for things I wasn't
No.
involved
I
in.
hope not.
Well, I think the other members will know who was involved in it. I'm not commenting more on
I'll put them there.
Sorry, I beg to differ.
that. I'm not going to get
We're not going to
tit
venture
for
that,
tat.
right?
Beg your pardon there?
Beg to differ, let's
I
carry
was
on.
there, I was
Rachel,
there.
Rachel.
You can ask Anna Thorne, she's very commissioner.
Rosemary.
You can ask this gentleman here.
Rosemary.
So Graham, what do you think are the big challenges ahead for this council and for Berwick?
Well, I think, I'm talking the scale we operate at, you know, I mentioned higher education, that's the scale we operate at. I think the transport around, the way traffic moves around the town, again, you could argue that's a NCC level issue, but we definitely have a role in forming a clear view on what we want the town centre to look like, and then if we push that to NCC and work with our councillors, we will achieve it. And what I would particularly want to see, you get debate about whether the traffic should get excluded from this place or that. I think the answer is just about traffic calming. I mean, there have been a lot of cities where with simple traffic calming measures, which could be planters, which could be raised platforms, you can get the speed of traffic down the middle of Berwick,
You
10
think you
miles.
could get over 5 miles an hour in Berwick town centre?
Robert, stop interrupting, please.
You can get,
Sorry, Robert.
so
Robert Green was talking, please carry on, Green.
thank you. You'd ideally get the traffic down to sort of 15 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour even, and you can achieve that quite easily with, there's a range of different techniques for doing it. And I would see that starting round about Skelly's Butchers, going down here, down Hyde Hill and along Bridge Street. If you can create an environment where traffic still has access, so none of the shopkeepers would feel that they were being hard done by. The pedestrians, residents and tourists would find that it's a perfectly safe place to amble along with the same speed as a car pretty much. So I would like to see that. I mean, that's one of quite a few. I've just been away in Ireland and I've come back to town and sort of like this. They've only got 14 trees in the middle, they've got 40. And I'll tell you, it transforms it, it really does.
Thank you.
Philip.
Sorry, is it an appropriate forum to make a comment or handle a question, or is it
It's just questions.
just questions? One of the things I would say is certainly over the last year or so, I think there's been a definite sea change in the way that the council is approaching a lot of things. It's gone, you can see on the streets the difference that's making. Over the sort of next 6 months, 12 months, I think we've got a unique time to make a lot of change. If you were looking at that and wanted to do two things outside of your agenda that from what you've been involved in, and you've been involved in a huge amount, and I know that from, I'm sat here primarily because of the conversations that we had some months ago. What would those two things be?
Thanks, Phil. I was delighted when the sort of working group was formed, which isn't just the council, it's the other agencies who are also involved in it. So working together, the ideas will come out of that. So, but that's a continuation of something that's already happening. I guess in terms of improving what the place looks like, I mean, which is about encouraging tourism as well, is, as I've said, trees. I think it's great scope. I think work with civic society, the upkeep of buildings, the frontages all, I know it's difficult. They're not always owned by local people, but there must be ways we can get work with people to encourage what the buildings in the town centre look like. And as I already said, combine that with traffic. I mean, other ideas come, but you have to just make sure that a bit of a recycling of what I've already said. But I think we can transform the look of the town centre, basically. Well, yeah, very cost effective. We're talking about spending lots of money.
I'm conscious of time, and I think we're going to be building up. Yeah. Ray, would you like to go through and please ask Anne to talk about it?
That's good. Sorry, listen, while we're waiting, can I just ask if the young person who isn't here to defend or to discuss their sort of vision,
You have to go by what's...
we're just going to go by the papers.
God, this is very cool. Hey! Never mind. One good thing, I've signed up a new help for the bag. Okay. I would like to be considered for co-option into the Magdalen ward. I have previously been an elected councillor for this ward, but because my mum was ill, I had to resign my post to look after her. I have good relationships in this ward. I am very approachable and residents support me. I have contacts with an NCC, Benicia, the local school and businesses, which have been proven when COVID came and Georgina Hill and I set up the Three Fields Action Group, which involved shopping, prescriptions, wellbeing, phone lines, and the rest of Northumberland used as their model because they had nothing in place when COVID came, so they took all our paperwork and used it. I also organised Santa on his wagon at Christmas, which includes the whole town. This event is run on a zero budget, goodwill and a little bit of magic. Not of arm twisting. I would serve Magdalen Ward and be their voice on matters that concern them. I would also serve this lovely, beautiful town with openness, transparency, and I will be accountable for all my actions. Okay.
Questions from other councillors?
You was mayor as well, weren't you?
Yeah,
During COVID.
I was made during COVID, I was made 2 years.
That's
Anything else? Again, that was good, isn't it?
Yeah. So what do you think are the main challenges ahead for Berwick Town Council and for Berwick itself, and what would you like to improve?
Well, it was nice tonight to feel the atmosphere at council, which was a lot different to when I left, and the ideas that everybody can bring together in such a good group of people that can bring something to the table and work together as a team.
And what about like Berwick itself then? What would you like to improve in there?
What's your shopping list?
Oh, no. I think the problem with Berwick people are they focus on the bad things, but they never promote the good things. We have loads of good things that we could promote without doing a lot of work. You know, so it's not a case of, oh, we'll knock that down and build that and this, that, and that. You know, concentrate on what we have as well.
Anyone else? You could off like me out. You like to go through
That's
and
right,
see
in
what-
case I ask them to be an elder.
why would you like to be a councillor for Berwick Town Council?
Everybody want to go. Yes. Mr. Mayor, because I come to my complete executive for police, over police and town council, but I'm really just come here. And my husband restaurant here, and my children grown up here, and I know every people here. So that's why I just come to here, and also I want to try to, maybe I knew, maybe I learned something to you. There's here things, no what's councillor, I go to meeting, I already done 3 meetings, but sometimes not less councillor there, so also I'm President Hunter, she's so much helped me, and I so much learned how to go council stop things, and that's why I thought I need to more focus into town.
Any other councillors with any questions? Rosemary?
Monica. So what do you think is really important about being a town councillor here, and what would you like to achieve and change for that?
It's very, actually I'm most important, I want to Berwick for a Berwick Academy for education. And second I thought transfer. Just 2 things I want to improve. And also I want to become my grandchildren say Berwick is a modern town. That's why my main aim, because my children all time go anywhere, they say Berwick have a charity town, nothing there, why you live there? And I said, no, we are peaceful town, and my husband 35 years run business, and also my children never bullying, and never have a problem, because very people are wonderful people. Even I never lock my house, I don't feel like, oh my God, maybe somebody
Don't
told
say
me. No. Even
It is locked.
It's locked.
yeah,
It's locked all
I
the
know.
time.
Even then, I don't feel like, oh, somebody stole it, because we are really good town, less crime.
Yes.
Do you understand? Less crime. So that's why I want to. I suffer for don't go to university. My children also don't go to university. I want my granddaughter never do that. I want Mr. Mayor, I don't do anything, but my boys too. I want some university, Annie and Derek, between. So our children won't go to this university in Edinburgh. So that is my further wish, especially for education and transport.
Maybe slightly out with our control, but again, has been pointed out, you have the opportunity to try and influence those at county council level and maybe beyond, who can carry that wish out. It's not the first time that it's been mentioned about Berwick having an outreach university at one of the other universities. This has been talked about for a number of years. It's never been achieved, but it's certainly something that would be of interest.
That is my dream. My daughter go to there, my grandchildren go there, they are no go to Leeds, and Nottingham, Birmingham. So they are come to back home again. So we are worried where children go further. So it's my dream, but I don't know. I still down my life, I don't know. But this is my dream memory.
And it's a worthy dream. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah, would you like to put that through?
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. This makes it quite helpful. Now with one somebody dropping out, we are now in a situation we have 4 candidates for 4 places. So the first thing we could just say is actually I asked for a show of hands of all those who'd be happy to accept all 4 candidates. If not, if there's only that's a minority view, then we can actually go on voting voting slips and have voting for individuals, but should we take a vote of, show of hands now, if we're happy with all 4 candidates? All those in favour? Against? Abstain?
Yeah, I am abstaining. I'm just concerned that we don't have all the here influence, that's all.
Well, sorry, I've said that wrong. What I meant to mean was Paul was included in that.
I know,
Yeah.
but we
haven't been able to question
met.
him.
We haven't met.
You're not getting it earlier.
No, well, what, I can see your point. There's only one other way we could do this, is we actually approve the 3 that we've seen tonight, yes? And then we could ask Paul if he would actually come back to the next full council and actually apply for co-option at that. Well, how do we stand now?
You can do what you just said. If everybody votes that that was what they would like to do, I would like to see the candidate they didn't see tonight in September meeting. That is okay, so you pass the 3, and then you defer the 1 until September. You're still within 6 months of the election, so you don't have to do anything else apart from the co-option.
And again, maybe Janice said that's absolutely right. I think it's sectional.
I was got on council 3 years ago without an interview process, just on a written statement. I believe
So was
the
I.
councillors were.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many around the table were. I don't think it's necessary to.
Okay. Well, let's
obviously there is a benefit to it if it's physically in, if you like, a competitive situation, but where there's no competition, there's clear precedent for us appointing on a written statement.
Okay. Right. Let's redo the vote based on the fact that it was for all 4. Yes? All 4 candidates. We've done that one.
Yes.
Can we then, should we just carry through? I'm just, we're conscious what we've done that. Are we happy to go with that? Yes? I know that there's still one more.
Why he's a councillor, or what we can bring to it at the September meeting.
If we're happy with that, what we actually approving tonight. Okay?
I mean, unfortunately, because a precedent has been set in the past where people have just joined without having any, it's not exactly an interview process, is it? But it's letting us see them in a way. I suppose because we've set a precedent, then we have to go with that.
So we're going with all 4 we're approving tonight. Yes?
Yeah.
But when Paul comes for his first meeting, if he wants to do a little presentation about why, we're going to do that, yes? Yes? I'm happy to move on. Yeah?
Right. Agreed?
Great? So that takes you to terms of reference. Oh, we need to do some.
No, that's fine. So, oh, no, I just thought we'd sit in the middle.
Do you know which ward it is? We need to decide that.
I've got.
Well, once you've signed the forms, can you bring them back out? And,
Well, they are
Great hair to twig.
right, okay.
Councillor Forbes wants to go on tonight.
So that'll be fine.
So everybody's agreed with that. I think she should go on that.
All those in favour of Anne Forbes being the Michael Moore, bearing in mind she lives there. Okay. Then you had Erin Khan had a wish to go on Grove Ward, yes, and there is a vacancy on Grove Ward. So all those in favour of her being on Grove Ward, passed. Then you have Graham, who said he'll go anywhere. Do we know where Paul lives?
My understanding is that he lives in Upper Settle.
So that would work out perfectly because we've got a seat in Upper Spittal and we've got a seat in St Boisel's. So if we were to say all those in favour of Graham representing St Boisel's, thank you, and Paul will be the Upper Spittal. Yes? Brilliant. Sorted. Thank you for that, Robert.
Okay, fine. You're not there anymore. Yeah.
So while we wait, you've got terms of reference which is on page 12.
Oh, sorry, that's not meant to be on. I don't know why that's on. Sorry. Oh, well, it must be on. Oh, sorry. You're not in the frame, so I don't quite know why it's in your... Better? Better?
No, no.
Oh, the table.
No, you are councillors now, councillors.
They'll block it. They'll block it. They'll block it. They'll block it.
Yeah, they have a change.
We're on page 12, if you want to go through. We're on to terms of reference. Okay. Sorry? Oh,
Very good.
the June. I'll just let everybody have just a couple of minutes just to read through the different terms of reference, particularly for the new members. Now, for some of the new members, whilst the working groups are restricted to 8 councillors on each working group, that does not restrict you from actually coming along and attending those meetings and actually on the discretion of the chair being put in groups, you just won't be able to vote on any recommendations. You will still then get the opportunity to vote when it comes to full council. So,
Given the comments in the public session earlier on, mention of voting in working groups, I'd like to make
recommendations they're making?
There were no decisions.
Don't make decisions, they're just making recommendations.
Just wanted to reiterate that, given that we're talking about votes.
Yeah, background, each background, if you look at the section that says background, it's very last sentence, it will make formal recommendations to full council for consideration and approval. Okay? How are we doing, everyone? I mean, after the first one, I mean, it's most of the actual layout of the rest of them are fairly similar. It's just really scope and responsibilities. Jane?
One of the things that we discussed at the working group committee was about scrutiny and reviewing of performance. I don't see it mentioned here, but it's mentioned in the budget. In the budget one, scrutiny is there. So it's just a little point, but it's an important one, Brian.
That was a stuffing.
Sorry?
Stuffing.
It was all, it was this one as well. Am I right? Yes.
Well, I was one part like this.
No, whether it was or not, I think it would be sensible for that particular sentence to support the council in identifying, prioritising, scrutinising and developing be the same for the 3 working groups.
So that's under point 4, scope and responsibilities.
No, there's 3 purpose.
Purpose?
So it's purpose and it's point 3 for purpose under the environment group.
And then the budget amendment.
And that one,
No,
yes.
I was looking at point 4 where you've got scrutiny of internal procedures and further down.
That's good.
Little by little. Right, so prioritising, scrutinising and developing. Yeah?
So the same sentence for 3.
Okay. Jane and Laura, yes?
Thank you,
Kathleen?
just have a question on the, really the numbers of the membership in all of these groups. I know, I just noticed in the staffing working group, there were only 2 at the last, so I just wondered if there's like a report, like, or would it not take place? Say for instance, it's only 1 person, would that be cancelled? Because in the last staffing working group, there were only 2 members in that group. That attended. No,
Sorry.
there were 3. Well, it only says in the minutes, it's 2.
Auckland Robertson on the second, page 42.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3, it has 3. So I just wondered,
Well, 3 out of 6 being the thing, well, that's 50%, so that's above the score.
okay, I'm just wondering if, well, I think there's 6 members, and then there were 2 apologies, and then, I'm sorry, I thought it was just the 2 plus 2 apologies, so that's it. So is it, the 6, is it,
Score would be 3.
it would be 3?
Because you would have 2 point something, you can have 2 point
So
something
it would be
people.
3, it'd be half of each,
It's much higher.
is that right?
For 8, it would be.
Okay, so it's 3 for all the working groups.
Any other queries? Okay, so with that, scrutinising into make everyone look the same on purpose, we are quite happy to adopt the terms and references of working groups. All those in favour? Anyone opposed? Abstentions? No. Carried. And to note, there is no change to the planning committee's terms of reference. Yeah? All those happy with that? Yeah? Thank you. Okay?
That was unanimous, thank you.
Yes, unanimous. Right, move on to AGAR, Annual Governance Accountability Return. And to approve the annual governance statement, section 1 of annual governance and accountability return. So there you are looking at page 23. Before that, you'll see the annual internal audit report from auditors on page 22. But the document you're really looking at is page 23. Any questions?
So let's just drop that.
On page 24, section 2. Sorry, I was doing a page 2 now. Sorry,
we have to.
I was rushing ahead, sorry. Okay.
Right, we have to go through each one of these in turn, and if we're happy with them, we just agree and say yes, okay? And if we are, when we get to the bottom, I will sign it, and then the chief officer will sign it, okay? So the first question is, we put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of the accounting statements. Yes? Okay?
Right, do you want to show hands for each of these?
Yes, but people have read it.
Are you quite happy then if we just say approve? Yeah, and the only one not applicable? Yeah, all those in favour then? Okay, and opposed? And abstention? None. Okay. So sign that one. Okay, to approve the variances between 2023-24 and 24-25 annual returns, that's pages 26 and 27 you're looking at.
Okay, you skip 24 and 25. Is that
It's
deliberate?
going in the order of the, we have to do it by the agenda. We'll come back to page 24 after we've done that. Right, we're doing approve the variances. Variances and transfers. Yeah. Everybody quite happy with that? All those in favour? Yeah. Against? Abstain? No. Question? No, sorry, pass it down, sorry, Ron. So, after the meeting? Okay. Item, then you go on to item 3, to approve the annual governance and accountability return for the year ended 31st of March 2025 for signature and submission for external audit. So that's page 24 that I'm looking at. Yes. Yes, Tom.
Right, on page 24, does the annotation restated have any significant effect that I should read?
Ian?
It's actually restated. It isn't our annotation. It's actually the document. It's there every year because we've restated the value of the previous year. So it's just a standard thing. They've just done it with funky lettering.
Any questions other than that? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just on page 24, item 4, the staff costs, I see from 24 to 25, it's a huge difference. What is that? 80.
Some very was because due to the staff restructuring, we took extra staff on at the unit, and we've also had the restructuring as well, and that ongoing cost from that. So that was,
Right,
okay.
so that's
That will settle down.
Sorry?
That figure will settle down. That figure will settle down. Okay. Everybody quite happy for me to sign this? All those in favour? Yes? Against? None? Abstentions? None. Thank you. Very good. Right, before we carry on, the Deputy Mayor would like to just say something.
I'd like to thank the staff for working so hard through this turbulent period with staff restructuring, to those that have pulled all the finances together and made such an excellent job, and to John for giving up so much time as our proper officer during the year. So I really would like to thank all those people that worked so hard during the past financial year to restructure the staff and to manage the finances so well. So that's a big congratulations from me.
Thank you. It goes without saying, I did it at no cost to the council. Item 4, to agree dates for the exercise of public rights, and the dates are from tomorrow, is that correct, Steve?
No, it's from tomorrow, the start date is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
One day, the start date next.
And it's through till August the 6th. Yep. Okay. Which is when we'll put it online on Wednesday.
We'll put it on
Tomorrow.
That's what the announcement made, and then, yes, that's the start date Wednesday.
Okay. Right. Moving on, 4425, strategic plan update to consider the report, page 29. Just the one page. And really, it's just to note what we all discussed on the day. Yeah? The strategy day. I'm just being nipped in my ear and told that for the new councillors, you'll be receiving some training next week. Graham? Some training next week, and where we'll go update you with some of the things that we've been going through on the strategy day. What we're going to try and do is put together a training programme for the 3 of you, 4 of you, yeah? To begin with, it'll be Ian and I, and we'll have the slides that we used when we had the training on. Alright. So first for this meeting. It's alright, don't worry. So this is just a note for tonight, but the other councillors will bring you up to date with them we've discussed, and also you have an opportunity to input as well. Okay? Right, so all those in favour of noting it? So. Strategic plan will be shown at the next council meeting. Thank you. Rosemary?
Just hoping that at that point we can actually refocus and agree on priorities, because we've just got time to discuss what was in it, but I'd really like us to agree what we're focusing on over the next year for priorities.
Well, we'll have to do
that. We can do that during the meeting.
Well, we'll have to do that because we will have to be starting to think about our budget for next year from September onwards. So that next meeting is going to be quite critical. There'll be a lot to discuss at that meeting. Yes, so it'll be fantastic for our officers to pull together a plan for that meeting. Thank you. Municipal calendar, just to read. Yeah.
Councillors were asked to vote on that. I don't think we have done.
Task the chief officer update the strategic plan. Yeah. Okay. Everybody happy to do that? Yes. In favour? Hold on. Against? Abstain? No. Okay, sorry, now pop over the previous following page. Okay, and the only addition you've got here is, if you look, meetings coming all the way down, get to July, there's an extra environment working group penciled in for the 7th of July at 6 o'clock.
What was the 1st of July?
No, we decided it was the 7th.
Okay, that's just in which. Yes, Michael.
November the 9th, November Sunday, it says 6 o'clock. Don't want to be pedantic.
11.
Well, it'll be a bit before.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Okay. Happy to move on to notes from environment working group, which comes in at page 32. I'll let you read through, Jen, you've not got anything to say.
No, I think everybody's got a copy of it. And the mayor, the chair, will be giving the recommendations that we came up with.
Well, again, for new, sorry, Robert, first, just for new councillors, again, I'll give you a couple of minutes just to read through, okay? So you're on page 32, probably the meat of the stuff is on page 33. And I'll take questions in just a minute too. Happy with things out? Really?
On 34.25 street furniture is the, I've just quickly read it, is the lack of reference to additional planters, because that's already been agreed, rather than it's been forgotten.
I wasn't at that meeting. Jane, can you?
I don't think that it's been forgotten. It's on the action plan, which we didn't go into in detail because we had lots of other stuff to sort out first. But it hasn't been forgotten. Maybe it should be included in there, and I agree.
As a recommendation, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a recommendation.
Recommend
Yes,
further for
planters
planters
and
planters with trees on Marygate.
Yeah.
With county council's approval of sites.
as a resolution.
As usual. Yes.
Because it was already in the action plan and had already been agreed.
Right, well this is handy coming up at this meeting because this is where we make the final recommendations, okay? Philip, sorry, Robert, sorry, you asked first.
There's nothing in this report about the bus shelters that we mentioned. Remember we mentioned bus shelters?
Yes, there was a report from the project officer regarding different things, and that report is not repeated here. It was a report to the committee. And
Surely it should be in the minutes. If it was mentioned at the meeting, it should be in the minutes.
Only if there is a recommendation, there's no recommendations coming from them. If
Of course
you've
there was.
made some recommendations,
Which we did.
the work on the vinyls for the bus shelters is from here, as I understood, so it's a new recommendation.
We also talked about having planters on top of the soil and that on top of the bus shelters for insects and bees.
That's true, we did.
It
What
was,
did
to
you
come,
make?
it was to come as a report at the next
Yeah,
meeting,
right.
along with the benches and everything else. It was to come to the next meeting as a report.
There's nothing mentioned about Councillor Stewart's comments about water homes either.
was a recommendation made. I can only go by what, I'm sorry, I'm struggling here because I'm not.
It's not because it's a new group, John, as well, you know, and
Yeah.
I think it's because we talked about a lot of things.
Yes.
We presented a lot of tasks, which were taken on board, and we made a lot of recommendations, or we put together recommendations. So not everything was included.
But I thought the point of that means that if you have a minute,
I agree, I
well,
totally
it should be
agree.
in the minutes, surely.
But they're not minutes.
They're not
No,
minutes.
they're not minutes.
All right,
It's
the
notes. It's notes. And I agree with you, so that's a teething problem
Yes.
that we need to sort out.
Yeah.
Okay?
But
So if it's been an audio recording, we can then check back these things don't get missed in the future.
But again, it's, if it's a recommendation that the other councillors at a meeting actually remember, then you can add that recommendation now. But I believe that you've got an extra meeting in July to follow up on the points that you made. That's when your recommendations will be made to full council, and they come to full council in September. So that's what will be noted then, yes? Okay,
Thank you.
John?
So just on the particular point of mode homes under the new bridge, if I remember correctly, and Chairman can't remember better, I think would ask the officers to contact Neil Snowden at County Hall and take it up with them, just as a point of concern. I'm aware that Councillor Hill has also raised it at County Hall, the officers there.
This is the notes of the recommendation. If it was asking the working group to work on something against the next meeting, it will be reported on in July. Otherwise, if we talk about it, we can talk about in July. We'll have nothing to talk about in July. Also, Councillor Bruce, if there is anything, because the first thing we do in the minutes, in the notes, is agree the notes. So the things which we miss, we put it back on, and then it goes on. It's the first, so it's
Phil?
Just a quick one. See the recommendation for forming a Christmas task group. Jane, can we make sure that we, if that's a great idea, we've got some ideas in the tourism and new generation working group around sort of the end of the year. It's fabulous to make sure that we're linking up the stuff going on there. That would make most use of that.
It's not really part of this.
Sorry, I was just thinking that was there.
Right. Sorry, can we go through recommendations? Yeah, so we get full approval. Go one by one. So the recommendation from the group is to install a new bin at West End Road, stroke 5 Arches, subject to NCC approval. All those in favour? Yeah. That's your recommended 3425 street furniture.
we've done those terms of reference. We talked about terms of
All, what about the bottom one, increase the meeting to 10 per annum?
Sorry, Jane.
That's quite all right, Chair.
We will backtrack.
We actually didn't say that it was to do with environment and community working with you.
Right, so the recommendation, the group to be renamed Environment and Communities Working Group to better reflect community involvement. All those in favour? Anybody against? And abstentions? No. Okay, carried. Recommendation 2, increase the meeting to 10 per annum. All those in favour? Anybody against? Abstentions? No? Right, carried.
I'm happy now.
You're happy now? Don't want to make you unhappy. Then we move on to 34/25 street furniture, and the first recommendation there, which is install a new bin at West End Road, stroke 5 Arches, subject to NCC approval. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? We have, well, we've been having questions all the way through, we've been discussing this whole area. Laura, is it on this? Is it
Yes.
something
Yes.
on that particular bin?
Yes. Yes.
Carry on. I'll give you a bit of leeway.
whether, how that links in with budget figure, or what, knowing what's left in the budget for minutes, for example. I'm sure at this time we will probably not issue, whether later on in the year there might be an issue about how much budget's left.
Right. So at any future environment working group, if there's a request for bins, etc., then we'll check and make sure there's a budget still there for it to be approved. As long as there's a budget heading and there's still money in that budget, it doesn't have to go back through to budget and admin.
Okay. Right.
Yeah? We check with officers to see, we'll check with officers to see if there's money still in that budget. I mean, if there's an emergency case when we get towards the end of the financial year and we've run out of bins and there is a desperate need for 2 or 3 bins, then that'll have to come to full council and we'll probably have to take it from reserves. Yeah? Any more before I go on to the next recommendation? Thank you, Laura. Recommendation: install 2 additional bins at Spittal Play Park using existing stock. All those in favour? All those against? And abstentions? No. Thank you.
The action, I would imagine, either later this week or early next.
Recommendation 3. Improve high street bins with visual markers and clear labels to aid visually impaired users. All those in favour? Yeah. Against? Abstentions? No. Unanimous? Thank you. No, you're supposed to ask before we come to the recommendations.
Okay, well, just quickly then.
No. Last time, sorry? Cigarette butts?
Cigarette butt, there's nothing on the bins that put your cigarette out, so that just cigarette plug-ins all over the bit now. Just ask that.
We will inquire for the next environment working group if those stubber routers are available and they can be raised at the next meeting, okay? Yeah? Yes, Rosemary. This is to do with,
I just want to know, I think that it was checked before.
Right. What, the stubber routers are not
Yeah.
available?
Yeah, because we're about to stop having smoke, yeah. We did ask that question and it was answered at the previous, that's my report. It, at a previous full council meeting.
Okay. Bearing in mind Berwick is a little bit behind the times when it comes to a number of things. Would councillors still like us to see if any stubber routers are available? Stephen, would you be prepared to have a look and come back again after that? Yes, Anne.
Just on the subject of the bins, it's been brought to my attention, and I'll just mention it now. You know how they lift? There's no rubber stoppers on the bottom, they just bang shut, and I'm frightened that maybe somebody's going to lose a finger because people are lifting them
You
up.
shouldn't be lifting them up
Well, they are.
because it's the actual, you've got 4 hatches.
Yeah, but they're actually lifting it, and some of the chains are broken as well, they're going right back.
We've got the new chains ready to go out.
Right, but just a couple of little rubber stoppers so that the fingers are going to still be attached.
Right, okay. That's a valid point, although customers shouldn't be, so maybe at the same time don't lift the lid, but
I've seen kids play with them.
we will look at the rubber stoppers at the same time. Okay. Anybody else before we move on to the next one? Carry on, next one then. Recommendation: install do not feed seagull signs at key locations once approved by NCC. All those in favour? Don't you dare question me. All those in favour? Come on.
I think the recommendation was also to hand them around the shops, or to offer them around the shops, putting in shop doorways.
We can look into that one, okay? But it rests in the road. I think that was a second. That was in favour. Against? And abstentions? No. Carried. Stephen? Update directional signage maps annually. Incorporate QR codes linking to live online information. You're going to interrupt me now.
No, I'm going to interrupt you before the vote. This is not going to be a vote, I'll be interrupted. So this is to do with the monoliths which will be going out to the town. So the information we have on them is a bit dated because they're older than the meetings go out for 4 or 5 years. Once they're out and once they need replacing, we will then update the information. The QR codes are far up to date and everything is there. It just needs a smart tweak, which we will do.
Well, for those of us who wasn't at that meeting, that actually was very helpful. Thank you. With that extra knowledge, are we all those in favour? Opposed? Abstentions? No. Carried. Thank you. Recommendation, final one, form a Christmas task group to review and improve seasonal displays, include options for new locations. Anything we need to know before we vote on this?
It's not just like Christmas lights, it's to do with retail shops and everything. Councillor Rowe is correct, and what we need to do is bring the shop owners and people into the group. But as it's a test group, it is open to everybody. But they need to, if people are interested, they just need to speak to us and we can include it in the test group.
Rachel.
Can I ask that we extend the invitation to our colleagues at the Business Residents Group, because they have always quite a fair bit of Christmas in their location, and we just ask their ideas, because they've got quite a lot of experience with.
And if we were doing that, my Spital Improvement Trust in the past used to do lights. I know that they're not been involved in lights on Spital Main Street for a number of years. But would anybody there still be interested in coming on board if we're talking about future ideas in the Spital area? Yeah?
There was some surplus lights which I gave up to the about a year ago.
Yes.
And they've never been used. Boxes and boxes of it.
There were festoon lights that we've covered that entire location for some of that because of the difficulty with handling traffic and the height required to have them.
But that could be one of the points that's raised, that we have got these things available. Are they LED or are they old-fashioned energy usage?
I would have to check. They're on our inventory list.
So that'll be one of the things that come together at the first meeting of the task group, okay? With all that extra information, sorry, Janice?
Can I ask when you're going to form a task group?
Well, once we have agreement on forming a task group, the first next thing we will do is actually set a date. Yes? So all those in favour of setting up a Christmas task group? Thank you. Opposed? No. Abstentions? None. 3rd week of July, I'm going to hear the right year. So what date? And of course the next thing we're going to have is what time of day. Officers would prefer during the day. Monday the 14th of July. Anybody interested? You know, I'm just thinking of those who will be thinking of going on this meeting. I'm just thinking, anybody interested? Would 4 o'clock be okay? Separate thing. So the people around the table who said 4 o'clock on the 14th, or on Monday the 14th, would that be suitable? Yes, for those around the table. Anybody else who's interested from outside bodies, if they get in touch with the office staff, then we'll let them know and get them added to the actual invitation list. Yeah? I'll let them know it's 4 o'clock on 14th of July. Okay? Right. Carry on. So we then go on to the budget and admin working group notes. Philip, is there anything you want to particularly want to raise? Those that aren't on that group?
Just a couple of things, if that's okay. In terms of reference, obviously we've brought it to council. Just a quick oversight, you can read it yourself, but I've just underlined 2 sentences. The working group supporting financial oversight and policy development and communications. And it's emphasised that the working group is not a decision-making body. We want to help develop policy ideas, review the financial issues, and shape the internal governance approaches. I think that's critical. And then one more thing on, so that was the terms of reference that was brought to this council, and then the second bit is in the internal audit section around noting the successful conclusion of the internal audit. And we had a reasonably detailed discussion about the accounting of investments and the need to split funds across different accounts to mitigate risk. With some recommendations. Other than that, I think the other main thing is you want to bring the printer situation.
We'll do the printer
Second. Yes, that's all.
Okay. Any questions from the document in front of you? Before we get to any voting, please. Okay, so the people are quite happy to be, as far as where the recommendations appear. First recommendation is the terms of reference, but we've already done that previously tonight. Okay. The next set of recommendations we've actually done when we did the AGAR work. Okay, so we've got to do that. Tom?
I'm not sure that we covered the last of those 4 bullet points there.
Cover note, be prepared and submitted to the AGAR.
Yeah.
No, we haven't got to that. I was saying we didn't have any there, but Tom has quite rightly pointed out that that hasn't been agreed yet. Right? So, item 4 recommended that cover note be prepared and submitted with the AGAR explaining any areas requiring clarification or context for external auditing. Everybody happy with that? All those in favour? Thank you. Anybody opposed? No. Abstentions? None. Thank you. Then we go on to 2725 and the printer. Bottom line is the printer we've got, we tried fixing it last year. It was a stopgap motion, but our office staff are finding it very difficult to work with that printer. It's a costly agreement that we're in. So we had a look at that as part of the Budget and Admin Committee, and the recommendation of the Budget and Admin Committee is that we go with option 2, Canon option 2, which you'll find on page 40. Okay. Page 40 gives you a breakdown of the different quotes that we've had. And working our way through it, there's quite a big difference in annual costs. Okay. Which is why you come for the second one in the option 2 at 525. Gives us best value by far. How does that compare with what we're paying at the moment? So the consumable 744 is included in the 525. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I knew there's a figure there. So the 525 that you see that's been recommended for us to approve, at the moment we're spending nearly £745 on consumables, which we won't be paying if we go with this thing, because consumables are included in the bill. So we'll save ourselves £220 a year. Okay? So can I have show of hands, all those in favour? Thank you. Against? None. Approved? No abstentions. Right, move on to page 42 and note of the staffing working group. Laura, is there any? 34.25. Sorry. I'm lost with where it says recommendations. I don't know how it's the boldness of them there. My apologies. So agreed actions here is It reads that setting a market task group would be beneficial.
No, not there. Are we not at 2825? I believe.
That's an action.
That's an action.
No, it's an action. Right, sorry. Yes. Right, both of those are action. My error.
Right, so we were there, we've gone over the page, action, decision. Right, sorry. 3225, bank reconciliation. It was decided to summarise reconciliation reports and review them as a group or individually before sessions to avoid delays and ensure thorough oversight.
That's just a decision.
That's just a
It's
decision.
just a,
Then you've got 3425, recommendation, agreed that setting up a market task group would be beneficial. And that's basically a task group for setting up a market, what plans might be for that. Okay? All those in favour of a market task group? Yeah, opposed? And abstentions, none. Robert, you're not voting.
Sorry.
Okay. Anything else on that I may well have missed? No?
Question on the market task group. Now that that's been approved, when
would you like to meet?
Sorry?
When would you like to meet? I think we haven't heard any of the, we haven't got any information back from you, but if you'd like. Third week of July.
Yeah, me.
Third week of July?
That's another one.
It is the old one, third week of July. Yes, absolutely, that would be great.
You want to do that now and get something down?
Why don't we do that now?
Okay. Do you want anything else on the Monday? Because people talk about Christmas lights will take forever. Tuesday we've got Salmon Queen rehearsal at 6 o'clock, but 4 o'clock before that. No, can't do that. Wednesday there's a VJ Day meeting at 5, but we could slip in a 4 o'clock before that. Wednesday the 16th, 4 o'clock for market. Yeah. 4 o'clock, Wednesday the 16th, and that's for the market. Task.
No, we can cover that. Those who would like to just contact office.
Have we finished now? Yes? Okay. Move on to the next one, which is notes of the staffing working group. Laura, anything that you want to raise in particular?
James reference, we've looked at the action plan, suggested a few additions to the action plan, particularly on training for staff. Possibly training for staff with regard to rearranging equipment rights, stuff that we already have. Review the staff handbook. We have from our HR consultant a long list of policies, HR policies, not all of which may apply directly to the council, but the officers are going to look at those, review the current staff handbook, make sure that what is most relevant is included in the staff handbook, and then present an updated staff handbook at the next staff meeting, during which the group will look at it again. So that's a major review of the staff handbook. That's not being recommended today, that's just for information about what the group is doing. So we'll also be looking at the staffing needs for the market when that starts. Looking at the possibilities of holding more meetings within normal working hours, where relevant for councillors, in order to reduce overtime for staff
given that the workload in other areas is going to increase. So looking at trying to find a non-cost item for managing some staff costs and staff. It's all there, yeah. So I'm just looking for your recommendation.
So, council,
Yes.
section 6, I think that they.
Yes. Right. Then what is, yes, right.
It should be,
So-
it should be as recommendations.
Right. So we have a new town warden, and the current town wardens have had some training, but they haven't had all the mandatory training on power tool training. So along with the new warden, we're proposing that they all get trained at the same time, brought up to speed with what they actually should have. And the recommendation is there with regard to the cost involved in that.
Laura?
Yes.
Sorry. I'll do the
Yeah, I'm not doing
recommendation.
the recommendation, I'm just explaining it.
Yeah.
We had quite a long discussion about the difficulty in managing time in lieu. The wardens on their present contracts have being paid overtime is not included in their present contracts, and they're supposed to take time in lieu rather than be paid overtime. And during the busy summer months, that's actually been difficult to achieve. So the very noted recommendation is there about handling overtime. That's why that's there.
That's on that point, the item there states maximum total of £10,000. It's not clear whether that's £10,000 per individual or £10,000 across the whole group.
Across the group. That could be more clear, I agree. Does say total.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple of questions on the cost of training. For the power, I appreciate the training is needed for the power tool training. That seems like an awful lot, £5,000 over 3 days. It just seems like an awful lot. That's one question. The other one is the officer training for a 2-year governance course given in February of 6,800. And I just wondered what the reason was for that, because and whether or not there's the money in the budget, if you know, because that's a huge amount of money. If you include that plus the other 5,000, you're looking at 11 weeks. But I just wondered what we've got in the budget, and also the reasoning for this 2-year governance course, because there are some free online courses and government funded courses, and I just wondered if we can save some money, because we have a huge staffing cost.
Laura, do you want to return?
I can't answer in detail regarding the power tools, but I understand the people that will come up here, that's their charge for doing those trainings for a group of 3 people over a 3-day period. With regard to the advanced training for the chief officer, that's improved governance. This council has struggled over the time I've been part of it, and I understand for some time before that with good governance. We've not had the people that have been trained appropriately to manage this council, hence with good governance. So we now have somebody who has the basic qualification for that, and is showing a desire to take that to the next level. This is not just any governance course, this is a course that is approved by the National Association of Local Governments. It's their course, and that's what they charge running that course. It's a course that would apply to all local government officers, senior officers. I understand we just have the
No, it's not that he has already what's necessary, but he's expressing a desire to continue that further. And I think as a good employer with our senior officer to improve this council's governance, that is a sensible thing to do.
And that money is in the budget, is it?
The money is not in the budget for this year, but of course, actually, the way it works out, the money would not be until next year. It will be budgeted for next year. Okay. And also, the point right at the bottom there is if there's a clawback clause.
A clawback.
Yes. So if unfortunately the chief officer decides to leave us very quickly, halfway through his course, then we won't be able to claw back.
Who would pay that?
Chief officer would pay back if he, if it's a period of time. He's here for the long term. I am convinced. He's just sold his house and he's put an offer on a house in there, so he's moving here. But it's only right for us, I believe, churches if they are want to improve their skill sets. It benefits a whole lot of us around this table to have that happen. Yes, Tom?
Sorry, just on that same item, and I understand it's not relevant in this forum, but is the expectation that that training will be undertaken in chief officer's own time or in work time? I'm happy either way.
It's my understanding that it's a combination of both. Is that correct, Ian? Some of your own time, some council time?
Like I say, it might be the best form to do so.
It's my understanding that it will be a combination of both.
Sorry, one more question, sorry, and also, does that include expenses on top of that, because traffic where it is, to take for every single.
It's distance learning, so that will be done here.
Okay. Doesn't require you to go to any on site.
There are 3 24-hour training days in each year, which are in Swindon, because they're just down the road and central to the rest of the UK, which costs £150 on each. And regarding when I'm doing the course, as it's a degree, it will probably take up most of my life.
Yes.
But obviously, work also takes up most of my life, so it's a combination of the two.
So it's a degree course?
Yes.
Right. Going back, if there are no more questions, there are 3 recommendations. The first one is all mandatory power tool training to be completed as soon as possible. Estimated cost roughly £5,000 for people over 3 days, although discounts are to be explored. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? No. 1, 2. 2 abstentions. Okay. Councillor Bruce and Councillor Seaman. Okay. Item 2. The outside workforce will be paid overtime at a flat rate during the summer period, April to September, to a maximum total of £10,000 annually in total, with all overtime to be pre-authorised and recorded using signed timesheets beginning in July this year. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? 2. 3. And finally, the expression of to give permission for the chief officer to undertake a 2-year governance course beginning in February 2026 at a total cost of £6,800. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? 2. Okay. Let's move on. Planning Committee. To note the draft minutes of the Planning Committee held on the 5th of June. Tom, do you want to speak on these, or are they pretty self-explanatory?
I think they're very self-explanatory. Mr. Mayor, there's nothing, I don't believe there was anything contentious at all in the applications. There was an issue, or a comment from Councillor Bruce when we considered a TPO application, tree preservation order application, regarding just wanting to check whether there is a standard request or agreement that for every tree that does get approval for being taken down, at least 2 two are reposed. My understanding from subsequent emails is that that is something that council do operate, but I'll take that on the feedback from them.
This is just to be noted, it's nothing to be voted on, okay?
The only other thing within those minutes is just to, again, particularly for new members this evening, is to flag up the neighbourhood plan. We are, obviously the work on the neighbourhood plan was put to one side during the election period. We are looking to engage with the community as soon as possible, and as chair of the committee, I'm working with officers to set up community consultation events in early July. 3, 1 in Scuttle, 1 in Tweed Town, 1 in this building. Not any of those things. So yes, the more councillors we have involved in the neighbourhood planning process, the better, obviously. So if any of the new councillors particularly have any queries or wish to know more about what the process is all about, I'm happy to meet with them in advance of those consultation meetings, and we can just see how we can get the maximum number of community involved.
Sounds awesome in July.
It is. Not just in case anyone's going on holiday.
So this is to be noted, it doesn't have to be voted on. Before I give you the date of the next meeting, apologies from the top of the table. This new format has, it's something we're going to have to work with. We'll improve on it for next week, next time round, okay? So the date of the next meeting is Monday the 22nd September at 6 p.m. Thank you very much for returning, and thank you very much for the members of the public staying in.